Well, good morning and welcome, and so grateful that you could come to Lansing and be a part of our advisory board here on human trafficking in the Michigan Senate. And we had a meeting this morning regarding that very issue, human trafficking, and how it affects our citizens in Michigan, and how our laws could be and definitely need to be more effective. And some of the things that we discussed this morning were the variety of issues around the state and how we can come together and effect positive changes in legislation that will be beneficial throughout the entire state. And I guess I would just start with Richard. I have Richard Sands with me on the my far left, and next to him is Diane Baird, and next to Diane is Joyce Haskett. And I guess I would ask you to tell about where you live and anything you might have learned this morning in our meeting, or things that you know are going on in your part of the area. And I'll start with you, Richard, if you don't mind.
Thank you very much, Senator Emmons. There's quite a lot of information that we gained this morning from some of the other organizations that met in little groups to discuss some of the legislation that we'd like to present and move forward on here in Michigan. It was very well attended and presented.
And tell me what part of the state you're located.
I'm in Wayne County, the southern part of Wayne County, and the city of Southgate.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you. Diane, I guess I would put you on the spot and let us, give us your thoughts of some of the discussion that we carried forward this morning.
Well, I think it was a great opportunity for all of us to share about what's going on in various parts of the state with Michigan and the problem of human trafficking. I know there was a lot of discussion about sex trafficking and labor trafficking and what various people are doing to try to make a difference, from individuals to organizations. I thought it was really exciting to see so many individuals involved as well as organizations.
Absolutely, absolutely. Joyce, it's your opportunity. You're a star today.
It was an absolute pleasure for me to be here today. The meeting was just so insightful, and I was very, very encouraged. It was probably the first time for me I'd been in a gathering like this where you could actually see some real things happening in reference to the disbandment or demolishment of human trafficking. It was a group of people who are actually very, very serious. It's not it's just not one of those issues that people are talking about for show or a get on the bandwagon kind of an issue. It is a hardcore issue, and people are tired of children disappearing on their way to the store, and people are understanding that this thing is happening right here in their very backyards. So I'm very excited about that.
Was there anything that any of you can think of today that perhaps information that came forward? We had folks here from organizations as well as individuals who have a passion about this issue. Was there anything that surprised you that you heard today at all? Anything that gave you pause?
Well, actually, what surprised me was meeting Diane, and I'd never known that. I wasn't aware of the fact that if a young person from a foreign country has been trafficked, and that she actually has an agency that works specifically with that group. Even though it's feasible, it makes sense, now that I heard it, but I never thought I wasn't conscious of that before.
Sure. We covered a variety of topics. Certainly part of our goal is to build awareness, and that's really a primary goal right now, because we realize, I'm sure as you talk to people in your part of the state, and in my part of the state, which is primarily the middle of the state, folks are still surprised. Some of them have no concept of really what trafficking is, whether it's for sexual purposes, labor purposes. They just have never even heard of it, and it's surprising. I'm grateful that as of Monday, there was news about individuals being rescued, and it was a multi-state rescue. The federal agencies were involved in that as well. And were there any of those around in Southeast Michigan, Richard? Do you recall that at all?
I understand that there were 3 victims out of Oakland County that was in the paper reported. I'm not aware of anyone downriver in that area.
But it is here. It is here in Michigan. It could be right next door, in your backyard, down the street, or across town. But we know it's here, and our goal as an advisory board and as legislators, myself as the lead in the Senate, working to make sure that we give prosecutors, judges, the whole judicial system tools to go after perpetrators and really, really put some teeth into the law to make a difference. Make a difference for our children, make a difference for our future generations, and make a difference for us as citizens, because this is an insidious problem, and it affects us economically, social programs, and not to mention anybody who's young who may have their education impacted by this, as well as the emotional trauma that goes along with that. So I'm just grateful that you're willing to be here and share what information you have, share the resources that are available and the resources that we now know that we need to identify that need to be available for individuals who are affected by this. So thank you. Appreciate it so much, and looking forward to more collaboration and more hard work.
Thank you very much, Senator.
Thank you.
Anything you'd like to add?
Yes.
Okay, good.
If you don't mind.
I would. I would like that.
I'm so very happy about this. I actually was involved with a pimp years and years ago. In the 70s, I shot him. He died. I'm not trying to make light of it, but it was the first time I felt safe in a long time. And I'd never been in trouble before. I went to court. When it was over, I had been found guilty of murder in the first degree and sentenced to spend the rest of my natural life in prison. And it wasn't called human trafficking back then. It is definitely an issue that is close to my heart.
And that's certainly understandable. When
Yes.
somebody has a personal experience, we need to know those things as advocates for change.
Yes.
And that helps galvanize us.
Yes, and it makes it easier for women to really come forth and not be afraid, because most of the time they don't believe anybody's going to believe them. They're always thinking that they'll be met with preconceived notions, that it was always a choice of theirs, like they woke up in the morning and said, I'm going to go out and sell myself today for somebody else.
Sure.
It is a time of hope, and I thank you.
That is the best compliment I could ever receive, to know that we are giving people hope, and to know that people understand that we are committed to this, and we're just grateful that many people are willing to get involved. A lot of times when you're talking about a sensitive issue such as this one, folks kind of want to step away and really not be connected with it. And we're just grateful that people are starting to understand, and people are starting to share their knowledge and share actually really just the definition of what this involves and how it impacts lives. And for us in Michigan, you're right, Joyce, we do have hope.
Yes.
We are going to make a difference, and it's because that you're all willing to be involved as well. And Richard, I think you actually have a personal story to share as well, if you wouldn't mind sharing it.
I do, Senator. Thank you very much. I'm also a part of a victimization of human trafficking here in Michigan. Back in 2007, I lost my granddaughter to a local strip club that had hired her, brought her in underage at 17 years of age, and took her down the street and gave her cocaine that caused her death. And my family and I have suffered quite at length since 2007, and I got involved with the Michigan Human Trafficking Rescue and Restore Coalition to try to raise awareness. And part of being here today just was quite a blessing that the state is getting involved and trying to move forward with legislation, because there's a lot of these stories that are hidden beneath the surface that really no one's aware of. And I really want to thank you again, Senator, for all that you're doing.
Well, we're grateful that you're willing to share your story, because it makes it very personal, and it puts a face on a diabolical situation that none of us would wish on anyone. And we're grateful, so thank you. Diane, I think you also have information about services that you work with, if you wouldn't mind sharing that.
Absolutely. I work with Lutheran Social Services of Michigan, and my office is here in Lansing, but Lutheran Social Services has sites around the state. And I work with kids in foster care who were born in other countries. So I work with refugee kids and immigrant kids, but for the last 10 years, our office has also worked with victims of human trafficking that were born elsewhere, but manipulated and used and abused and brought into this country and used for sex or labor, slavery. And they've been liberated from these situations, but kids face a really long recovery process. I mean, when this, at the age of 14, I can think of one young woman I worked with, and at the age of 14, when she was told, come to the US and you can help your family. Her mom had a disease, her dad had a disease. She had a younger sibling with epilepsy, and she felt like coming here, she could make money. They said you can work in a restaurant or in a hotel and clean rooms and take care of your family. And so she made a choice and then was raped and abused and put into sex slavery upon arrival. And so that wasn't her choice. And it was a really long road of recovery for her. To meet people and to have services and to have empathy and to have people reinforce that she had value when the traffickers told her she didn't have value. And if she didn't do what they said, they would hurt her family and they would hurt her. And so to see her come through that and then graduate from high school and have a healthy life afterwards is really amazing. And it's amazing to be a part of it. But one of the challenges I think we've seen is that while federal legislation has allowed for foreign-born victims of trafficking to have a service, I mean, and these kids need the service, we don't have the same setup for kids born here in the U.S. or for women and men who encounter this here in the U.S. as we don't have a system that's fully equipped to help them and to help them find that healing. And so it's really exciting to be a part of something and to see that the Senate is looking into and trying to change that and to create those opportunities for kids and for adults.
Well, boy,
Wonderful.
we're grateful for sharing your willingness to share that, and that's very compelling to hear of situations where you've made a difference and somebody's life is far better and has opportunity ahead of them because of what you were able to do. That's our goal. That's our goal with the legislation, not only the prosecution of traffickers, but the fact that we can make a difference for those who have been victimized by this, and hopefully provide them with opportunities and hope for their future as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you all being here, and we'll get a chance to visit again. Thanks so
Thank you
much.
very much.
Thank you, Senator.